tonight on Elon Local News.
New information on where the university is keeping students who are in quarantine. Tonight we speak with one student who tested negative for the virus but hasn't left her hotel room in nearly 2 weeks.
Concerned diners. Students worried about the lack of enforcement of dining hall rules. Why one student is seriously concerned about her well-being.
And the show must go on. How some performing arts students are planning to connect with their audience, even if it's virtual.
Tonight, August 31st, 2020.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Margaret Faust.
And I'm Maeve Ashbrook. We want to begin tonight with new coronavirus numbers right off the top here. The university is reporting 5 new coronavirus cases on campus, a single-day high. 4 cases are from students and 1 is from a university employee. The total number of coronavirus cases since freshman move-in is now 16.
Alamance County also saw a single-day record of 109 new coronavirus cases, contributing to over 1,100 new cases across the state. For the latest numbers anytime and all the time, visit elonnewsnetwork.com/coronavirus.
Along with those new coronavirus cases reported today, there are now 70 Elon students in quarantine spaces. And tonight we're learning more about students in quarantine at area hotels. Our Baylor Rodman is live in Burlington with the latest. Baylor.
It's in front of it. Elon, good evening, Maeve and Margaret. I'm out here in front of the True Center, the True by Hilton Hotel here in Burlington, where we do know that Elon students are in quarantine. Several Elon students are quarantining here, including Elon's sophomore, and she is here until at least later this week. All of the students have tested negative for the virus, but they are, needless to say, here for a precaution.
Socially isn't as bad as I thought, because it's basically like I was only on campus for 2 days before I had to go to quarantine. So it's kind of like I was before. Like I'm still just like FaceTiming all of my friends and everything. Like obviously it's like not fun, but it's not like it's more manageable than I thought it was.
I do think personally though, I was a little like, I guess, cautious about telling a lot of people, just because I didn't want to be like, oh, you have like the scarlet letter. Like, I didn't want people to like be freaked out when I come back on campus and they're like, oh, she had COVID, which I didn't. Just because I was quarantined does not mean that I actually had COVID.
Again, Elon sophomore Aldermonte is here until at least later this week. She has not left the hotel since August 20th except to be tested. And again, we do know that she tested negative for the virus. Also, just down the street at the Holiday Inn Express, there are a few students who are quarantining there as well. The hotel told us this morning that 3 students departed there, and another is scheduled to leave on September 7th. All of those students as well tested negative for the virus. But again, they are there at a precaution. Quite windy out here, but Maeve and Margaret, back to you.
Yeah, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning in Alamance County. That's why it looks so stormy out there. But to get right back to that story, typically a room at the True Hotel would be $120 per night. A 2-week stay for one room would cost just under $1,700. An Elon University spokesman, Owen Covington, told Elon News Network that the university is not publicly identifying the hotels being used as quarantine spaces.
Elon University is about to start its 3rd week of random COVID-19 testing. And while some students have been randomly selected, others don't know what to expect when they do. Our Grace Terry was selected and takes us through the process.
The signing of a form and a swab of the nose.
2, 3, and then
I was one of 300 students, faculty, and staff recently selected to complete random COVID testing. For Elon freshman Anna Carmody, the process is well organized.
I think a lot of things at Elon so far have been super organized and just on top of it, and so it was a super easy process and it really did not take much time at all, so that was really great.
Chair of Ready and Resilient Committee Jeff Stein was on site for both weeks of testing and said students seemed to be at ease with the process.
And since most students have already done this test, they're used to it. I'm pausing there because I'm surprised how comfortable students have been with the process and just kind of very relaxed and willing to jump in and stand in line for a minute, work with the LabCorp folks.
Students who are selected for COVID testing will receive an email from Stein labeled urgent. Students are then required to schedule an on-site testing time through the LabCorp website. Carmody says she changed her behavior after realizing the potential repercussions of testing positive.
I was definitely trying to be even extra safer than I already was. I mean, I've been safe this whole time, but I was really trying, like even with my common area or my hallmates and stuff, I was just trying to only be around them if they had masks on and everything.
If the virus is not detected, students, faculty, and staff are notified through LabCorp's Pixel testing portal, just like the pre-semester COVID test. Otherwise, students should expect a call from either a medical provider or a member of the LabCorp medical team to notify them of a positive test. Grace Terry, Elon Local News.
After getting her test done last Wednesday, Grace has still not received her results. LabCorp says on their website that it takes an average of 1 to 2 days to process the test once it arrives at their lab.
While university buildings require people to wear masks, one group is largely exempt from this rule: dining halls. As our Anne-Marie Bonner reports, not everyone is satisfied with the safety of those spaces on campus.
Inside the dining areas on campus, there are spots on the ground, socially distant tables, and new protocols to limit multi-touch surfaces. But Elon sophomore Lily Case says just because rules are in place doesn't mean they're being followed.
People get up to get more food and don't put their masks on immediately. If they've gotten their food, they're going to go get a dessert, they're going to grab a napkin, something like that, and they walk like 5 or 6 feet and then stick a mask on. And that's defeating the purpose.
For sophomore Sage Albert, it is the long lines for food that give her concern.
I mean, on a personal note, even though sometimes I do want to like stay with my friends, I think that if they're really concerned about our well-being and really want us to social distance, even though we have masks on inside, but if they're gonna really try to make that like an every time thing, they need to really, enforce it a lot more.
Kay says she wants to see an authority figure other than those cooking and serving food.
Right, but they're not paid to police students. They're paid to serve food and to be, that's their job. And so it's unfair to ask them to do something of that level.
On Dining declined an on-camera interview, but said in response to written questions, quote, "Our guests are wearing masks, following distancing signage," adding, "Our teams are making sure that all guests are wearing masks indoors, maintaining physical distancing in our facilities, controlling the number of guests in our locations, and communicating with guests constantly." At the end of the day, Case believes it's the students acting selfishly.
But people aren't considering the fact that if you have COVID, you don't know and you spread it to someone else because you weren't being careful, that's on you. And you've made a horrible mistake by misjudging the severity of the situation.
Marie Bonner, Elon Local News.
Elon Dining says they are working to control crowds during peak times by extending dining hall hours and reducing occupancy levels.
If you're parking in downtown Elon to go to class or visit your favorite restaurant, there's a new policy that you should know about.
Brian Ray is live in downtown Elon with more. Brian, good evening.
One unpaid ticket and you're towed. That's Town Police's new parking policy. If you get a ticket and 45 days pass without you paying your ticket, your car can be towed. Now, it's important to note that Elon Police deal with the parking here in downtown Elon and the side streets, but on-campus parking is left up to campus police. Now, Elon Police say that the policy is a way to get people to comply with paying their tickets, which about 150 go unpaid every year. Drivers I spoke to today say they have some concerns about the policy.
It's a little ridiculous. Some people here probably have money. They have problems with money, or they need, they're on financial aid or something, and they might not be able to pay the ticket right away, and they're still planning on paying it.
We already have you can't graduate if you have unpaid tickets and everything, so it seems like a lot of issues for one unpaid ticket.
You should be worrying about lots that are closer to campus that faculty people need, or admissions people need, that other people need, or people with disabilities.
Assistant Police Chief James Perry tells me that they've only had to tow 2 people since starting to enforce this policy about 2 weeks ago, and those people had 3 or more unpaid tickets. So Perry says they don't anticipate towing a lot of cars. Live in downtown Elon tonight, I'm Brian Ray. Maeve and Margaret.
For more on parking in town, visit our website elonnewsnetwork.com and search parking.
With just 63 days to go until the general election in November, Alamance County's Board of Elections has received 8,000 absentee ballot requests. The director tells Elon News Network that the number of requested ballots is already double the requests made during the entire 2016 election. If you're registered to vote here in North Carolina and would like to vote absentee, the state deadline to request a ballot is October 27th.
Still to come tonight on Elon Local News, Student Body President Robbie Miley joins us live to discuss how SGA is supporting students during the pandemic.
As you can tell, we have some pretty interesting weather at Elon right now. Stay tuned as I, Cammie Brady, live update you with the weather.
As we begin our third week of school, students are still learning how to navigate taking classes during COVID-19. But joining us now across the hall in a separate studio to talk about this new reality is Student Body President Robbie Miley. Robbie, thanks so much for joining us. And just to start us off, what is SGA doing for students during this time?
Yeah, so a lot of it is advocacy. So listening to what students are saying and trying to relay that to the different administrators that are in charge of some of these decisions. That's a huge thing that we're trying to do this semester. But additionally, it's also trying to spread information to those that aren't really aware of the different processes or resources that are available. For example, not everyone knows that you can use an online app to order a lot of the retail food on campus. Not everyone knows that you can pick up a free mask at the Truett Center or the Creed. So a lot of it is advocacy, but additionally it's also trying to inform a lot of the students about the different resources and processes that are in place this semester.
Now, Robbie, say that students have some concerns about what this semester will look like. How do they voice those concerns to SGA?
Yeah, I guess I just want to start off in saying if you are concerned about this semester, like that is totally understandable. One of the biggest things that you can do is go onto the SGA website and reach out to your class representatives or the representatives within your org or school. We have all those names updated on our website, but you're also welcome to shoot me an email and I will absolutely take the time to read it and respond to you, and I'll do my best to address the concerns of anyone that reaches out, but also the people that have a hard time reaching out, and I'm really just trying to listen to everyone that needs help during this time.
Yeah, and Robbie, SGA itself, that's a large body of people, and so how have you been adapting your meetings as an organization to keep your members safe?
Yeah, so we have 3 different types of meetings. The first Thursday of every month is a town hall in which we go in depth about a certain topic. This Thursday is going to be relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so our town halls are going to be live streamed and people are able to attend online. We will be presenting in person by having a panel or the exec boards there, but anyone that's uncomfortable in doing so will also have the opportunity to do so online. The second type of meetings that we have are council and committee meetings. Every SGA senator is a part of a council and a part of a committee, and so traditionally we would all meet together, break into our separate councils, then break into our separate committees, and then come back together and discuss some of the talking points. We didn't feel like that was necessarily needed this semester, so we'll be doing that separately, and then we will be uploading our meeting notes online. And then finally, we have our business meetings where we're often debating and discussing legislation, and we felt like it was really hard to do this in an online environment. And so for that reason, we will be having business meetings in person, but we are also offering the option for any senator that wants to attend them online to be able to discuss their thoughts and also vote on different pieces of legislation as well. So that's kind of how we're adapting our meetings on a weekly basis.
Real quick, Robbie, we're just about out of time, but just in general, do you have faith in the Elon student body that they will be following these rules and keeping everyone safe?
That's a really good question, Maeve. I think for the most part, what I've seen on campus is, while students are on campus, they are taking it pretty seriously. I don't have eyes on everything that goes off campus, but I really want to make sure that we have the infrastructure on campus to allow people that want to be safe to stay safe and to stay healthy. And I think we do have that infrastructure for the people that really want to, for the people that are taking this really seriously.
All right, Robbie, thank you so much. SGA Executive President, thank you for your time.
Our Cami Brady is live outside on Citron Plaza to give us our weather update. Cami?
Also, minor flooding expected, but could potentially not happen. But the rest of the week, it will not be like this. The rest of the week is calling for partly cloudy skies with one sunny day on Wednesday. As for the temperatures, it's going to be a hot one this week. On Tuesday, it is going to be 85, and then from Wednesday to Friday, it's going to be high up in the 90s with a low down in the 70s. Things start to cool off on Saturday with a high of 84 and a low of 66. I hope we all get through this thunderstorm. Have a great week, Elon.
That's our Cami Brady. Thank you so much.
And still to come, even though graduation is more than 8 months away, you may want to start searching for a job now. We'll explain coming up.
Plus, the Elon students graduate last May in the middle of a pandemic. She took her career into her own hands. Her story coming up.
Around this time of year, seniors on campus start applying and receiving offers for jobs after graduation. But given the uncertainty of the labor market over the next 8 months, there are some tips to keep in mind when beginning the job search. Our Baylor Rodman has the story.
As students across campus think about life in the workforce amid a pandemic post-graduation, Elon University's Senior Associate Director of Corporate and Employee Relations, Brooke Buffington, says as industries fluctuate, students should be ready and able to quickly apply to opportunities as they become available.
The most important thing is to be engaged. Now is not the time to wait until March, right? Now is not the time to not have your resume ready because you never know when that offer is going to come up.
Buffington says the impact of COVID-19 on the job market seems to be industry-specific, as accounting and finance-based students have continued to come back with offers, but those in events and the hospitality industry have had to pivot. According to Buffington, job offers are down 10% from where they typically are this time of year, but on par with the class of 2020's employment rate at the time of their graduation. Buffington believes the university has adapted well inside the classroom to prepare students for the new normal within the workforce.
Students having to do that in the classroom, having to navigate, oh, this class is virtually, this class is hybrid, this class is in person, is what the work environment is going to be like for, foreseeable future until something drastically changes.
Elon's senior and business major Annabelle Lind was able to secure a job post-graduation with the company she interned for last summer. Lind says she knows she's lucky to be in this position.
I know for other people looking for jobs right now, it's not a great time, to say the least, to be on the job hunt. But I suppose I was just fortunate enough to be kind of ahead of it from the beginning.
Buffington says students need passion to break through during an uncertain job market.
Employers want to see that because we're all having to be resilient in this atmosphere, and companies and organizations are as well.
Baylor Rodman, Elon Local News.
The SPDC will be hosting 6 different virtual careers fairs this fall, which students can RSVP to through the Elon Job Network.
If you're worried about being hired for a job when you graduate in the spring, remember that there is more than one way to be employed. I spoke with one recent Elon graduate who took the hiring process into her own hands. Alumna Susie Moore planned on working for a big PR firm in New York after she graduated this spring. When all of her prospects went into hiring freezes, she got nervous.
When some of my friends were getting jobs, I wanted to be really happy for them, but I was also incredibly envious.
Then, Moore jumped out of her comfort zone, realizing she was the only person standing in the way of starting her career.
I didn't feel like I wasn't good enough to try something new.
Moore began her own digital agency and asked 2 of her friends, including co-founder and Elon alum Davis Klimek, to come along for the ride.
I had full trust in her. I believed in her. I knew that she clearly knew what she was doing, and I could see, the passion that she had, and, I didn't really think second guess it.
Quickly growing her agency to a team of 11 with over 10 clients, Moore feels a responsibility to succeed.
If I don't find clients, if I don't find work, it's not me that's going to suffer, it's my teammates. that are going to suffer, that really, they took a risk on me.
Moore didn't expect to oversee hiring and payroll in her first job out of college, but she says she is adapting.
A lot of those connections that I made while looking for jobs, I've still been talking with, and they've given me advice on, how to build an agency, how to do some, the different projects I've been doing, and just kind of like been catching up with me, trying to, want to hear my story.
Moore works 12-hour days talking to clients day and night.
Now I'm like super invested, so it's like, it's my little baby. I don't want it to die, so I'm like, I want to keep growing and keep building and, be successful.
3 months already under her belt, Moore hopes to learn more about the field so she can continue to grow her agency in the future. Margaret Faust, ELN Local News. Moore attributes part of her success to her time at Live Oak, ELN's student-run communications agency.
Still to come, how the Performing Arts Department is holding classes this fall.
The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has seen a 70% increase in foster care and adoption since the beginning of the pandemic. ELN student Maggie Bossolini fostered a dog her freshman year from the Burlington Animal Service and has recently adopted her dog, Ozzy. Bossolini says, especially with the pandemic, taking care of a dog boosts her happiness.
And I think no matter what, even fostering, only having a temporary amount of time of being with an animal and just being able to have this sort of companion is just so nice and sort of a breath of fresh air.
Bossolini says she isn't surprised that there has been an influx in adoption and foster rates and encourages students to look into it if they love animals.
And that is all the news we have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining us.
For all the news you need to know when we're not on the air, visit us at elonnewsnetwork.com.
And be sure to follow us on social media at ELN News Network.
Have a great week, ELN. Stay safe and healthy.